Coach Pat Narduzzi has joined us here. We're at the Pitt kickoff luncheon at the UPMC Club at Acrisure Stadium. And I can already tell from the last time we talked, you were very relaxed in your office. Now I know we're getting ready for game day in the first game. There's an intensity about you. You're starting to feel a season coming up.
Do I look a little different? Do I look different today?
You really do.
Well, we just got done with a little rehearsal scrimmage for Miami. And had some sub issues, so my blood pressure is up a little higher than normal.
I could tell
because I get pissed off. So after the scrimmage, I'm like, "Hey, we can't do this, can't do that. We got to be better." Just guys. Scrimmage. It's not game day. They got but it was a good learning experience for sure.
How do you feel about this team heading into the opener? What's the feeling?
Hey, Joe, I feel really good. If our guys play up to expectations, they do their job, and our motto this year is get it done. I don't care what it takes, just get it done, get your job done. I feel like people will be happy if we do what we're supposed to do.
How much growth has Mason Heinschel made from his first start last year to now going into the season?
Yeah, I can't even measure it, right? The measuring tape's not big enough. It's hard to even measure because he just didn't have the reps a year ago. He threw less interceptions this fall camp than he did last fall camp. And he threw probably 600 more balls. Like you think about it, like he's so much better. He understands the game situationally. He's so much better. He'll understand how to milk the clock. We were down at Georgia Tech and we're telling him milk the clock, and he don't know what milking the clock. Like snapped the ball with 2 seconds left. Like it was like, he didn't understand. But and again, it wasn't because he's not smart. It's just like it takes time to get that done. And we're so tempo, but all those little things, he's so much better.
When you're coaching an athlete like that who can create something out of nothing, how difficult is it for you to say, yeah, go ahead and do that, but there has to be some sort of framework for it?
Yeah, there's got to be framework. I think, again, those are things he's gotten better at. He understands, I think he trusts he's got skill that he can throw a check down and they're going to get 15. Last year it was like, it's 3rd and 10, so I got to throw the ball past the sticks. No, you can throw it under the sticks and let those guys go get a first down. So those are things where he's really grown.
What part of your defense do you think has grown the most from a year ago to now, that especially the Sharks, a little bit of a new look unit? How do you expect them to perform in the early going?
Yeah, I really feel good about our front seven. I think, just stopping the run and what we can do up front. I mean, I think we're too deep across the board, which a year ago at this time, I probably had blood pressure problems because of, just really our linebackers and just the lack of depth that we had there, and we had to stay healthy. So I feel really good about our front seven. And again, our Sharks are our Sharks. Our defense is going to make plays. Our skill guys, our linebackers are going to make plays on the ball. They're going to sack the quarterback. We're going to make hits. I don't worry about those guys. I mean, I think what we do schematically makes those players look really good.
Opening with Miami, I guess Miami University, Miami of Ohio, whatever we call it these days. But you have a lot of history in your family with that school, you and your dad, right?
No, absolutely. Again, Miami's known for, these big games for them. This is a big game for them. They call it their tomahawk game. So if they beat a Power 4, they got a big wall in there where they write their name on it, whatever the year's score on there. I've got a few of those in my basement that I'll bring in this week just to, teach our kids, like, they're coming to win. They're not coming just to lay down. It's a tough football program, but, my dad graduated from Miami. He's a Miami grad. He actually coined the phrase in a bar in Canton, Ohio, the cradle of coaches, because he played for Ira Parsegan and John Pont back in the day. Played with a bunch of, played with Bill Mallory, just played with some of the greats. There was actually a documentary that came out, just probably about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, about the cradle. So it might be something before the game you guys take a peek at. But and then I got my master's from there, and then ended up really coaching there 2 years. My first year I was wide receiver coach. I knew nothing about wide receivers, okay, but a teacher is a teacher. And then I came back in 2003 with Ben Roethlisberger when he was there, and we had a heck of a year, going 13-1, lost in the opener at Iowa, but should have been, probably in that BCS game back in the day.
I feel like there are more games, Pat. We were talking about this beforehand, that are on Thursdays and that are on Fridays than ever before. How much of a challenge is that to have that many amount of short weeks in a 12-game season?
It's challenging. I mean, we've got 2 Friday games and a Thursday game this year. Last year we had 0 of those. So we were all Saturday, and you get into rhythm and, routine. I think it's different. It's difficult for your guys, when it comes to routine as far as that goes. So I think the routine is critical. But we'll get our guys acquainted to it, and it's just another challenge, but that's part of the game.
So one of the questions around Mason is protection and weaponry. Can you talk to those 2 issues?
Yeah. I think, the quarterback protects himself by making sure he knows where to go with the ball. Okay, and I think we had a problem with that early in the year last year, but Mason wasn't in the game. So I think he does a great job at knowing where his protection is. He's able to change protections, because sometimes it's not the guys, it's where what your protection is. If you know that he's coming off the field edge, well, then, slide the front that. Let's get our protection where we need to get. So he'll have the ability to do that more. He's changing it on his own. If Cade sees it, he's going to change it for him, over the green dot. So I feel really good with the protection. It's never going to be perfect, but I think we'll be a lot better as far as giving up sacks than we were a year ago. And then he's got weapons out there. I mean, he's got weapons in the backfield. I really feel good with the guys that we're going to put on the field next Saturday.
You've had some great backs as well in your time here that have translated to the NFL as well. How do you feel about how that unit has developed?
That room is deep. I mean, we've done a great job recruiting, evaluating talent. I mean, you go from Ja'Carrion Turner, a.k.a. Boosie, this Lavelle Wright. Nobody's talking. They're talking about Damon Ferguson, a true freshman that's coming in that's going to be really good too. But Lavelle Wright's another guy that is a bigger back. He's a change-up. He's 215, maybe 220 pounds, and he's a load to get down on the ground. So we've got some different weapons down there, all the way to Damon Ferguson and Bob, Sinquan Smith. I mean, so we're pretty deep in that room.
You sound very confident about this team. An ACC championship in the midst here?
I was going to mention it today, every year I feel that way. I feel a little bit better this year. I mean, I think I'm always optimistic. I think our team believes. And I think it starts with belief. If you don't believe it as a football team and as a coaching staff, you have no chance. So our kids really do believe. It's not coach, we're going to win the championship and roll your eyes. They believe it. You got to go out and do it. It doesn't matter what you think you want to do. So the belief is there. We've got the talent. I don't care what, everybody's pocketbook looks like and what our NIL is. Everybody worry about that, saying, well, they can't do it because they don't have enough money on their roster. It'll be interesting. I mean, we're tied for second last year. We're one game away from being in that championship game. And, the crazy thing is, since Pitt got in the ACC, I don't know if anybody realizes, there's only been 4 teams to win an ACC championship. Out of 17 teams in the ACC, there's only been 4 teams since 2013, and Pitt's one of them. I mean, that's crazy. You got Clemson's won quite a few of them, obviously Florida State, and then last year Duke. So, I mean, It was 3. Now it's 4 because of Duke. So we got a chance every year. There's
been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks of players that have gone on to the pros coming back to college, or at least attempting to, and the conference is trying to snuff that out. What do you make of that, Pat?
Yeah, and every morning when you wake up, and I put on ESPN, I see something different. And this morning you wake up, it sounds like all the conferences started with the SEC, and then the ACC came out, which you knew they were all going to do the same thing. It all depended on when your meeting was. So all conferences have come out against bringing back guys from the NFL. Sounds like Lane Kiffin is still the renegade down in Louisiana, and he's trying to buck the system. But it seems like it was all started down there, and now it sounds like the judges are coming back saying you can't. The judge said this, and the conferences are saying that. There's no rule that, I guess. I mean, right now it sounds like, in my opinion, that these conferences have said, hey, listen, if you do it, okay, your head coach is going to be suspended for half the season. Okay, so if you want to bring a guy back, you just don't have a head coach. So, I think that's what it comes down to. It's not so it just makes every SEC team or ACC team, really not bring a guy back because there's a penalty goes with it. So it's really not against the judge. It's just the conference rules.
Pat, we appreciate the time. Good luck on Saturday, 12:30.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Hail to Pitt. Thanks, Joe.